Hello again, everybody. This is Commander Mr. Everything coming at you with another Star Citizen update. Now, I'm talking about the roadmap. The one roadmap that I'm really worried about or interested in is 3.5. We've got 3.6 on the roadmap as well. Normally we would have a year, and I don't know what's going on, but someone hasn't updated it. We should have 3.7 and 3.8 on there as well. But they did add the Squadron 42 roadmap, and that does go out for a year. Okay, so now I just want to let you know that I don't want to be like a lot of the other streamers out there that I've noticed, a lot of the content creators, and what they're doing is they're taking the roadmap and they're reading exactly what you see on the right side of your screen. So what they'll do is they'll click, they'll open this, they'll read this. They might even bother reading the tasks completed. But hell, you can read that. You know, that's not news. That's not an update. What I want to do is break those bullet points down and let's talk about exactly what the impact on you, what the impact on me, what I personally am looking forward to, and not just regurgitating information that you can already access on the website. It's in black and white. You can read it yourself. And another thing, I don't read the roadmap the day it comes out. It came out Friday. Today is Monday. I don't read the roadmap. I let it soak in. I give myself a couple of days to see what this roadmap actually means to me, and then I give you my opinion, my feelings, and we'll talk about it. I don't, when I hear other people like jump on the roadmap the day it comes out, and all they do is read the topics, that irritates me. That makes me feel like I need to make this video for you guys. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making this video for you guys. And I've got a follow-up video that I think you guys would enjoy seeing. It's going to talk about the female character model. I'm going to try not to give you my opinions about the female character model in this video because what I have to say about the female model is a little controversial. So if you want to hear my opinions, come back and check out that next video. I don't know what it's going to be called, but you can come check it out. All right, so here we go. Let's start with 3.5. It's talking about the first quarter of 2019. When they see first quarter, they're talking about every 3 months there should be a patch coming out. This patch will target for the end of March. Okay, so let's take a look at the 3 characters that they have. Okay, the topic is characters. There's 3 entries. One of them is a new character. Her name is Tessia Pacheco, or Pacheco. She might be Russian, right? That Pachinko? Pinocchio? Okay. Tessia Pacheco. All right. Now, she's in development, obviously. She only has 18 out of 46 tasks completed. So there are tasks that fall into multiple categories. So I'm just going to make something up. It's not real. Let's say they have to do female hair colors, right? When they come down to playable female characters, when they finish hair colors, I'm sure that one of her hair colors is one of the female hair colors. See what I'm saying? So they can do one thing, and it might be a task here, and it might also overlap and be a task here. So these tasks are kind of like, I don't even bother with it. Let's not even talk about tasks. Because one task might take the guy, all he has to do is type in a 1 and hit enter, and then he just finished a task. Another guy might type in 100 lines of code, and then that's one task. So it might be a task just to draw a picture. It might be a task, whatever the task is, we don't know. So we shouldn't concern ourselves with these 42 tasks might take longer to do than these 92 tasks. So Or it might be vice versa. These 92 might be twice as long, as each of those tasks. So don't concern yourself with tasks. And that's really an internal thing. They probably have 46 tasks listed on their Jira website, and they're not telling us what those individual tasks are. They're just letting us know, hey, we've got 18 of 46 done. Okay, so just ignore that. Now, in development, of course it's in development. There might be stuff on the roadmap that's not in development, but if they've got 18 tasks done, then we know it's in development. Okay, so now creation and implementation of a mission giver character. That doesn't tell us anything. Let's click it. Okay, so I opened it up and it says creating a new mission giver to be added to ArcCore. Okay, so that's telling me that she's going to be one of the people you go up to that gives you missions in ArcCore. Now when we used to be able to walk around ArcCore, there wasn't a whole lot of places where a mission would be given. Maybe the bar, the G-Lock bar, maybe that's about it, right? Okay, or maybe on the street, you just meet somebody on the street. But with the new ArcCore coming out, there's going to be all kinds of bars. There's going to be bars and shops and back alleys, and there's going to be all kinds of things. So we don't know where she's going to be, but this includes concepting with the character team, creating the character's clothing and props and environment. It's like where she's going to be. Capturing performance and lines from the actors or the actress. Solving the animation and audio files for implementation into the engine. So working on it. Creating the behavior tree. What they're saying is, if you come up to her and say, like, you're a jerk, she'll respond to you in one way. But if you say, hey, I want to help you out, she'll respond to you in another way. That's a behavior tree. It's like you get multiple options. Does she like you? Are you a criminal? Are you not a criminal? That kind of stuff. And hooking up mission content for this character. Because you can't have a mission giver that's not giving you any missions. This task will also include the creation of any text needed to be accompanying their missions. So a task might be just to type in all the text for a mission. That shouldn't take that long. Actually, they need to get somebody that knows what they're doing when they're typing up these missions, because these missions are confusing. You can't figure out where you're supposed to go. The text is vague, or it's not inaccurate. So they need to work on that. All right. So that's her. What do you guys think about having one mission giver on ArcCore? It doesn't seem like there's... Well, then again, how many mission givers? Well, there's 2 mission givers on Hurston, right? And there's 1 on ArcCore, and I'm sure another one will come out later. Okay, then they got the DNA face customization. Okay, this beautiful mug that you're looking at right now on the screen is one of 9 faces I get to choose from. When you add the skin tone on top of the face, it changes the complexion, the wrinkles, the eyebrows, and the lips and stuff. It makes the face look different based on your complexion, but it's still only 9 faces and still only like 9 complexions. But DNA face customization is when you can take a slider and you can slide it across, and you can make your nose bigger. You can make your ears longer. You can make your mouth wider and your eyes taller or squintier. And that's kind of what I'm expecting, or that's what I'm like excited about. It was just updated a couple of days ago. Yeah, Friday. Design has implemented the DNA face system. Design and implement the DNA face system, including the gene splicing system used for player characters customizing nearly infinite NPC facial variations. Dual quaternion skinning, corrective blend shapes, and all other deformers will be implemented on the GPU to allow the system to scale with many characters. We saw this at CitizenCon where, they can take the sliders and modify everything. It'll look cool. Okay, last thing on the characters. Playable female characters. Implementation, the models. Okay, so the body shape and sizes. Animations and items to allow the player to select female avatar. Okay, so the players will be able to choose a female character. Then when they go to the shop, when they buy their armor, it should fit on a female body. So it'll actually be a modified version of like the armor. Like this picture you're looking at right now, she's got, looks like the medium armor, and it's marine medium armor, and it looks modified for a female character. Okay, great. Again, come back to my next video. We're going to talk in depth about the female character model and my opinions, which are many. Okay, so we have, as well as update female NPCs in the various locations. So like the mission giver and like Rico and some of these other female characters that might be shopkeepers and stuff like that we're going to see. And they're going to, right now, the only other females you see are the shopkeepers or Rico, because everyone walking around in either Artcore or Levski or Hurston and all that, they're all males, right? So now we're going to be able to see females walking around. That's going to breathe life into the universe a little bit. It's going to look a little bit less like, you know, like a clone factory. Now there's extra locations. Let's talk about the locations. We've got a new planet. Yes, Artcore. Now, Artcore is a city planet. Think of Coruscant or something like that. It's a giant. That's not a moon. No, it's basically. Ooh, we've got something going on with my eyes. All city, but it appears that you can fly and land anywhere, but you know that CIG is going to put no-fly zones, just like Levski, all over the place, and there's only going to be certain limited areas that you can land at, like Area 18, and there's going to be shops and people walking around Area 18, and all these other places on the planet are going to have these no-fly kill zones as soon as you try to land on them. So don't think that you're going to be able to go all over the planet, because you're not going to be able to. And don't think that you're going to be able to walk or take a train from anywhere to anywhere else, because it's not set up that way. The whole world will look cool from space. It'll look cool when you're flying into the landing zone, but you're not going to be able to just go anywhere on the planet and land. There might be multiple areas, like Area 17 was displayed at CitizenCon, where you could see he could fly from Area 18 over to Area 17, and it looked like the buildings in the area were a lot taller than the surrounding buildings, so it kind of looked like high rises on the planet. I thought that looked pretty cool, but we'll have to see how they implement that. Let's go ahead and click it. The design, creation, implementation of a sprawling urban planet with points of interest around the planet. Yeah, you can't just land anywhere, but you can land at those points of interest. I hope there are things like ship manufacturing plants or bases, or not necessarily just maybe a random weapon shop somewhere, or a living area, maybe a gambling area, maybe a what do you call those things? A decadent nightclub area. That's what I would like to see. I really want to see a nightclub area, but that's me. All right, so let's get rid of that. Boop. And then we come down here to the moons, right? They got a couple of moons. We got Lyria and Walla. It doesn't look like very many tasks are completed, but I don't suspect it would be very hard to make moons. They're just going to plop a few outposts randomly places and do some broad brush strokes. Creation of blah, blah, blah. Voila. Completion of blah, blah, blah. Okay, they still have about 2.5 months to finish it, so we'll see. Well, 2 in a week. Here's the last one, Area 18 landing zone. According to this, they're like not even close to being finished, right? Well, remember, those tasks, the remaining tasks are probably just polish and stuff, so we'll have to see. Let's click it. Incorporating landing control, area 18. That's basically where all the cargo comes and goes, and that's where it's a central hub of activity, So let's see. One of the main commercial ports of interplanetary traffic for the surrounding region. This work includes populating the city with NPCs, missions, and stores. Yeah, if we remember the old ArcCore, it had, and I'm sure they're not going to just discard or throw that asset away. They're probably added to it or reworked it. I would hate to see them just throw it away. But that area had places where players might be able to implement their own shops, or it gives the developers areas where they can plug shops in because they built it out with that in mind. But I don't know what it's going to look like. I think it's going to be more lively. More people are going to be in it. Next one would be AI. There's only 2 entrances for AI. One of them is AI flight model update, right? That's adapting the AI to the revised flight model, because the way the thrusters are going to work and the way the throttle is going to work is going to change drastically, and the AI are programmed currently to use the current flight model, and so they got to update them to be able to use the new flight techniques and stuff like that. So I expect the first few months, maybe the first 6 months with the new flight model, I think the AI are going to be a little derpy, but as long as they keep working on it and they get them to be a little bit more intuitive, then it should be pretty good. All right, let's take a look now. What's the next one? AI combat behavior improvements. They haven't even started it. They're saying it's scheduled. Okay, let's open that up. Sorry, I didn't open that one up. Blah. Okay, I already read that. Let's look at this. It says blah. Okay. Ship AI and behavior improvements. I've been on a few air-to-air missions, and when you get right up on them, they will start moving. But if I sit back a little bit, like a kilometer away, I can just unload on the AI, and they won't even start moving. They just kind of just sit there. And if you get closer to them, then they try to ram you. So they're basically trying to joust with you, and they're being aggressive about it. And yeah, there's no variation. It doesn't seem like they're even trying. Okay, like even the ones that are pretty good aren't really good, but they will try to ram you. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Let's talk about gameplay. There's 15 entries in gameplay. All right, so this might be important to us. Let's see what we got. Heat. Okay, improvement to the heat system to provide a more systemic experience between items and vehicles. So those heat sinks and those coolers might become important. And then this will cover a variety of issues and their effect on vehicles, because if you overheat, power might go out, or if you overheat, the gun might stop working. So different components will react differently to heat. Also, they're going to incorporate heat effects, the ship, to also heat values in the room system. So there might be heat in a room. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to impact us. Is it going to affect our stamina, or what is that going to do? We don't know. All the way up to defining the ambient heat of a solar system. Wow. Really? Wow. Okay. I don't know why. And that's scheduled. I haven't started on that. Okay, AI bounty hunting. Okay, this really won't even affect me that much because I'm the good guy. I don't really get a criminal rating. That's not me. But half the people in the game get criminal ratings, and sometimes you get a criminal rating for doing something you shouldn't have done, like bumping into a hangar or something that you shouldn't have bumped into. I got a criminal rating once for doing that. In that case, the AI will shoot you. Or if you're not in a city, maybe you're out in the wilderness, they might have a bounty hunter come out after you. So it is a bounty hunter in environmental missions. So what they're kind of saying is if you're on a planet, they might send somebody out to get you. They're going to get you. Vehicle scanning HUD. Okay, because right now it's pretty cool. You hit tab and you go to a vehicle scanning and if you point directly at a target, it will actually scan the target. It'll tell you what his cargo he's carrying. It'll tell you who the pilot is. It tells you all kinds of information. A lot of people might not know this. If you get within, a couple of 100 kilometers, or not 100 kilometers, if you get within a couple of kilometers of something and you tab it out, and then it puts you into the scan ping site page on your HUD, you don't have to ping. You can just point at them, and if you point at them, it'll like do a little clock spiral, and then it'll tell you that he's carrying diamonds or whatever he's carrying. Widow. If you're carrying Widow, be aware that that's an illegal drug, and the 1st Naval Aerospace Squadron will come get you. Now this says it's implementing improvements to the vehicle HUD system to support additional scanning and ping features, including confidence levels for nearby identity. Well, it gives you the confidence level. It says it's 99% confident he's carrying diamonds or whatever. Okay, but we'll see how that changes. AI distress beacons. Implementing combat assistance service beacon missions where players can assist in AI distress. Okay. ECN missions are pretty much already that, right? So I get an ECN mission. I fly out there. The guy's saying he's a starfarer, and he's saying, "Oh, we're getting attacked by bandits. Help me out." And then you kill off the bandits, and he awards you money. Okay, that's what ECN most of them are, and they're pretty hilarious. But this AI distress beacon, I'm not really sure how that's any different, but we're going to move on. Vehicle Radar 2.0. It says, adjustments to the radar system allowing the management of different radar upgrades and adding functionality for the developers to modify radar range and abilities based on location. This allows for environmental hazards, nebulas, things like that, asteroid fields, to impact the radar's effectiveness. Yeah, so basically they're going to work on making the scanning system a little bit more detailed, have a lot more features to it, and give you a reason to go out and buy a radar dish or a radar computer, upgrade your radar in some way, and then also gives you a reason to maybe hide in the asteroids or hide in a nebula or in the atmosphere or a gas giant cloud or something, because right now, radar's radar. Quantum travel improvements. Really, I'm one of those guys that are pretty satisfied with quantum travel as it is right now. I think it should be a little bit faster, maybe 50% faster. I think it really shouldn't be much faster. I do think there should be a conscious thought process on whether or not you should jump to another system or not, but that thought process shouldn't be painful. It should be, do I want to go all the way over there and take 5 minutes to get there? Or should I just stay here and do a mission? Or should I jump over there and then take another 5 minutes to land? 10 minutes? Do I really have 10 minutes? That's what it should be. It shouldn't be, it's going to take me 10 minutes to get into space, and it's going to take me half an hour to get to the next world. No, right? It should be, there should be a reasonable choice, not a guarantee. But I don't want it to be, you click the button and you show up on the next planet. That's not, you want it to be a thought where they have to make a decision on whether they want to actually show up and not just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is you should make it a decision to make a jump and not just, hey, the quest is there, I'm going to click it, I'm going to go. No, it should be, okay, the quest is over there. Do I really want to make this trip? The fuel right now I think is pretty good. You should have, this is just my opinion, you should have enough fuel in your two-seater to go around the system all the way around the system. If you've got a bigger ship, like maybe a Freelancer or Constellation, you should be able to go back and forth across the system 2 or 3 times. I mean the whole system with enough fuel. Because how is an Aquila, just throwing this out there, how is an Aquila going to go through a jump point, explore a system that has never been discovered, fly to a planet, scan it, maybe land, maybe look around to see if, there's any life or any ruins or anything like that. And then how are they going to fly back to the jump point and return if they don't have any fuel? So I think a Constellation-sized ship or a Freelancer-sized ship should have enough fuel to fly to every planet in a system at least once and then refuel. Now, a fighter-sized ship maybe shouldn't. Maybe a fighter-sized ship should have enough fuel to go maybe between 2 planets in a system. That's why they require carriers. That's why carriers exist, is that's to carry the fighter craft. That's my opinion. But speed-wise, I think they should be just a little bit faster. Maybe not twice as fast, but maybe 50% more faster. More faster, is that a word? Okay. Vehicle scanning improvements. Implementation of general user experience improvements to the vehicle scanning system. This includes the ability to create false signatures and balancing the distance in which contacts can be detected. Okay, so there just needs to be they're just working on that, try to figure out how they can make it better. Ship system degradation improvements. Okay, so they're saying the longer you use your ship, the longer you overclock the ship, the faster it's going to degrade, fall apart, stop functioning, malfunction, stuff like that. I'm excited about that. I want my expertly tuned weapons to function the way I want them and not always just max them out for damage and heat, because that'll be great in 1 or 2 dogfights and then you're going to have to replace your guns. I want durability and length of use on my weapons and my squadron. I don't want to be flying with a wingman and then his guns just overheat and jam. We're going to have to do our normal PMCS on our weapons and stuff like that. So I'm excited about this. This is kind of adds a whole new gameplay loop for those of us that want to do like maintenance on our ships and stuff like that. Okay, let's open it up. I didn't open it up. Functionality, wear, and degradation causing reduced performance and persistence. So the damage will be there. When you log out, you log back in, damage will still be there. Vehicle tech upgrades version 1. Adding a variety of vehicle implemented improvements such as vehicle states and model behavior. And yeah, okay, I don't care about any of that. Basically just saying they're going to work on the vehicles. Group system improvement. Okay, well that's needed, right? I really think the group system's a little clunky. It's a little, it doesn't function all the time. It doesn't allow you to get to the right server all the time. Yeah, it needs to be worked on. VoIP and FOIP improvements, version 3. Well, you can see that my FOIP that I'm using right now is having a little issue. My eyes are flickering and my mouth doesn't always open the way it's supposed to. Yeah, so, you know. All right. So what is it? Blah, 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 blah. Make it more accurate. Okay, that's great. Now, I've got a 1080p 60 frame camera, but apparently FOIP is only accepting 30 frames, because even though I'm streaming it at 60 frames, it says that FOIP is only accepting it at 30 frames. So maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. We'll figure it out. They'll figure it out, not me. Okay, bounty mission NPC improvements. Yeah, okay. Have any of you tried taking a bounty mission? They are impossible. Not because they're not laid out good, and they're actually laid out pretty accurately, I would think. They've got a bounty hunt, like they'll ask you, hey, go get Jon Snow or whatever, and I'll go, okay, cool. Where's Jon Snow? Well, there's no icon telling you where he's at. Of course, because if there was, that would be kind of like cheating. And how is Jon Snow supposed to escape or get away, right? I have to search for him. But space be big. And there's no way you're ever going to find Jon Snow. There's no way. So what they need to do is say, hey, we got this bounty on Jon Snow. The last time we saw him, he was over at Jumptown, or he was over at Port Olisar. Go over there and check it out. To narrow the search down. I think that's what they need to do. And it says, improve the space bounty mission so that the hunted NPC can use quantum travel to evade the player. Really? I can't even find him. How is he going to use quantum to evade me? Whatever. Okay. Distortion damage. I heard one streamer thought that distortion damage was going to be only received from atmosphere or environmental hazards. Well, that's not true. There are guns that do distortion damage as well. But the distortion damage on your ship, how is it going to impact you when you're in an environment? So, because distortion is kind of like a ranged EMP. It fires out and it hits your power plant, or it hits your sensors or something like that. It does some damage, but it doesn't really damage the ship. It's more like disables the ship. And if you get disabled in atmosphere, then you're pretty much going to be screwed. Okay, so let's keep going. Gimbal weapon improvements. Okay, I've already thought that gimbaled weapons were pretty good right now. They're not overpowered, but they're also not weak. I thought it was a pretty good idea to nerf the gimbaled weapons by one size, because that's what, before you could just throw a gimbal on and have the same size as your fixed guns. But a few years back, they tweaked it and they said, okay, if you want to use a gimbaled weapon, you have to sacrifice a size. So on a size 3 mount, you could put a size 2 gun. I thought that was a really good compromise. And I'm not really sure what they're trying to do now. They're trying to make it so that I can't aim. I don't know. What is this? Because all the whiners out there that have a joystick or a HOTAS say, oh, these guys with mice, they can just point at me and shoot. But guess what? You can just point at them and shoot. But your guns are bigger. I've stopped using gimbals. I've started using fixed guns mainly for that reason, because they're bigger. Automated gimbal mounts. Weapons can sometimes use so maybe you lock onto a target and the gimbal just swings over. I would think that one of the reasons why they might need that is because of AI. The way AI can shoot, I'm thinking. It doesn't really say that there. But also something to do with about how far to the left and right it can swing and how high up and down the gimbals can go. They are kind of limited. They should be able to swing a lot more. I saw on some of the ships, like maybe the Valkyrie, you have a pretty wide range of gimbals, like almost 180 degrees to the side and up and down. I thought that was pretty impressive. And I think gimbals should be like that. I think that if you want a gimbal, you should be allowed to have a gimbal, right? And it should be, you're sacrificing something for that, like size and power to control the gimbal. So it's not like, and we can talk about what's OP and what's not OP and what's fair and not fair in another video, because I've got some opinions about that as well. Maybe that'll be next week. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, so what are we looking at? Extended delivery missions to ArcCore. Okay, well that's good. Well, basically, if you're going to add a planet, you might as well have some missions that take you to and from that planet, right? Like delivery missions. Deliver this cargo, or maybe rest stops. Same thing, pick them up. Let's look here. What do we got? The origins. I'm not going to click on all these, but we all know that they're modifying the Origin 300 series, which is the 300, the 315 Scout, the 325 Fighter, and the 350R Racer. Yeah, so this is A, attack, P, patrol, or something like that. It's got sensors. Yeah, so they're going to rework this design and style and where the engines are placed and how you get in, where you sleep, how you get around the cargo, and all that is like, it's a long needed update. I'm happy for those 300 users. I had a 325 for about a month, sold it. Okay, Bano Defender. That's a really cool concept of a ship for an alien, but not for me, because the dual cockpit thing where You got a pilot on this side and a pilot on this side, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. Misc Reliant, don't care. It's a ship that looks like an A-wing, flips on its axis. I'm not, yeah, whatever. The Reliant Sen, okay, it's, yeah, it's another Reliant version. Not excited about it. I mean, it's coming. The Reliant Mako, I know a lot of newscasters and stuff like that are kind of cool because they think it's gonna change the game when it comes to streaming in this system. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Okay, let's talk about weapons. This right here, the Banu Singe Tachyon Cannon. Okay, so they're going to start working with tachyons. Nice. Now, I don't know if you know this, but a tachyon is a particle that travels faster than light. What? Does this thing travel faster than light? I don't think so. If it does, that'd be really freaking powerful, and I'd have to get me 100 of them. But design, unless it just doesn't do any damage. Okay, designing and crafting the Banu Singe Tachyon Cannon for use on ships. The work includes asset creation, passes, numerous teams, develop input and weapon balance, all that good stuff. It looks kind of cool with the ridges and stuff. We'll have to see what it's going to look like, and, you know, I don't know. But because the Banu Defender's coming out, they got to put some weapons on it, so they need the Singe. The Singe. Okay, and then we got the Gemini S71. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this because I've needed an assault rifle that's truly an assault rifle in the game. They have the P4 SC. That's not an assault rifle. That's kind of like a, it's like a carbine. Yeah, it's not an assault rifle. This one is, though. It looks like it's a nice long carbine or rifle. Looks like it's going to have a high caliber bullet. Maybe 7.62, maybe a 5.56, something like that. That'll be fine by me. Looks like it's going to have like maybe a red dot scope on the top. I'm kind of excited about it, but it's still not the one that I want. I want the P8AR. That's the one I really want. I want that one so bad, but this will hold me over until that comes out. Designing the Gemini S81 assault rifle for use by characters in game, and then all the other stuff. Yeah, they don't really talk about it that much. Gallinson Tactical System GT870 Tarantula Revision. So basically they're going to get the Tarantula and they're just going to modify the look and the feel, the animations, all that stuff. Okay, moving on. We got the Castak Arms Coda. Kind of cool looking. It looks kind of bandity or rough around the edges. Not a gun that I will ever use or have my guys use in the Squadron, but hey. Cortec. Okay, asynchronous disconnection refactor. Okay, they figured out there are some codes that are in the game that are causing people to get infinite loading screens and or crashes, and they basically need to make a overhaul of a certain type of system, the asynchronous disconnection. Okay, basically that means like, how do I explain it? There's like, I've got A and you've got A, but for some reason the computer thinks I've got A and you've got B, and it disconnects us. Okay, so it's not synchronous, it's asynchronous. Okay, so what do we got? This refactor aims to improve efficiency of usability of the synchronous disconnection code. Refactoring this will clean up a lot of bugs, like the infinite loading screen. So like if I crash and I try to go back in, it says you can't get back in because you're already in, or you never really disconnected, so it can't relog you back in, stuff like that. And that's why this needs to be cleaned up. It needs to have a tool like if you crash to go in and actually clean up your residual imprint on the servers and stuff like that. Okay, close. Moving on. Network object container streaming stall fixes. Okay, I don't know if you've ever been playing and you've been walking from one place to another and you get to a doorway, and as soon as you step through that doorway, or as soon as you get close to that doorway, your FPS tanks. Like I'll be cruising down the hall at 60 frames, but as soon as I turn the corner, I drop to like 30 frames. But then, or maybe lower, maybe 20 frames or 2 frames. And then a few seconds later, it jumps back up to 60 frames. Well, that makes me feel like I hit a brick wall for a second, and then I broke through it, and now I'm continuing on. Well, that's what that stall is they're talking about, because something had to load in the game. You're moving from like this green block into this white block. Well, actually, this is kind of saying you're going to the right. You came from the red block and you're going into the white block, right? So this is where you currently are. The computer realizes that the red block, you're leaving it. You're not staying there. So it prepares it to pull it out of your memory. And then it knows that these green areas here are immediately threatening your movement. Like your movement is getting ready to go into one of these three. So it loads all three of those in anticipation of you moving, because you're traveling, right? So it loads those as an object container. All these little boxes are object containers. So it loads those in anticipation of you going in one of these three directions. It has to predict that you're not just going to run in the room and immediately turn around and go back. Because if you did, it's not ready for that, because it's taking that out of the system. It's preparing this for deletion. It's still already in the system, so it doesn't have to load it. So if you do turn around and go back, it just has to switch from the deletion code to the, okay, let's keep it in this system. But let's say you keep going, and then what it does is let me back up. It doesn't prepare the light, the bright green here. It actually loads those. It prepares the light OD green areas and maybe loads some of the assets, or gets some of it loaded in anticipation of you going down this hall. And once you start going down that hall, more and more of things behind you is what gets deleted. The problem is it's not doing that. Like, you'll go into a room, it will load 2 or 3 of the items, but when you get closer, it has to load all the rest of the items. And when it does that, your FPS spikes, it like tanks. And then once everything's loaded, which is only a few seconds later, it's loaded. Now you can continue on at your high FPS. So that needs to get fixed. And then the new flight model, so excited about that. That's going to be the throttle. It's going to be a more persistent throttle. It's not going to be a constantly having to hold the button down or whatever to boost or to thrust, because what you're doing is raising your throttle, and when you let go, it stays there. Or it might, depending on how it's set up in your options, maybe it'll drop back down to 0 when you let go. But I think you're going to be using your W and your S to bring the throttle up and down, and it's not going to just automatically drop to 0 like it does now. Or maybe it is going to drop to 0, because I think when you go up, it stays up. I don't remember. Maybe it automatically drops to 0. Maybe you have to hold the W down to thrust. And if you get over your maximum speed, it automatically keeps going. It goes into like a boost mode. There's no cruise, anymore. You just have a faster and a faster speed, and it just builds up. But they're going to also have afterburners, so that's going to be super cool, where if you need like that extra boost, you can get it. Plus your maneuvering thrusters are going to be weak, like maybe 10% of your aft thrusters, which is exactly how it's supposed to be. And so that means when you're flying, you can fly forward at a very good clip, but as soon as you try to turn, your maneuvering thrusters are barely going to turn your nose. It's going to be like a really slow turn. And depending on how fast or how tight they want certain ships to turn will determine how many thrusters, how powerful those thrusters are. So I would assume that fighters and stuff would whip around on a dime, where maybe a Constellation would take forever to make a left or right hand turn. That's exactly what it should be. What people will need to do in this case is slow down. That's going to, hopefully it's going to slow down everybody right now is just whipping around at max, like super fast, because they know they can turn on a dime. You shouldn't be doing that. The current space travel, I mean, I understand this, Star Citizen's in the future, but current space travel, once you start going in a single direction, you don't change direction. You pretty much, all you can do is do slight maneuver, thrust left, right, up, down, whatever, but it's not like whipping around in a circle like Star Wars. If you go slower, you'll be able to fly like Star Wars. If you fly faster, like people are doing today in Star Citizen, you won't be able to turn. You won't be able to do anything. You're just going to be a rocket going straight forward. And if you decouple, which I assume a lot of people are going to try to do, they're going to decouple and spin around and then recouple and use their aft thrusters to make modifications to course changes. That's going to be good, but I bet you're going to be getting some guys blacking out because they're going to, it's not, yeah. We're going to have to find out. We're just going to have to find out. Okay. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about changes that are supposedly going to be good. So we'll have to see. Now, it could just be the other way around. We'll have to figure it out. Projectile Manager. A long time ago, they said that each bullet was going to be modeled. They said gravity, wind, the turn of the planet, and all that stuff was going to affect the course of a bullet, right? So when you fire the bullet, it actually is physically modeled in the air. You can't see my hands moving, but it's physically modeled in the air. And as it flies, wind will affect it, gravity will affect it, the orbit of the planet will affect it, the turn of the planet. You know, all these things will affect it just like a real bullet. Instead of right now, I do believe when you fire a gun, it goes perfectly straight forever. Yeah, and we don't want that. All right. And what about, oh, I forgot. There's also bullet tumble. At a certain point, bullets start to tumble. So let's see if they model that. Okay, and the next one is hard surface shader. Okay, so that's basically they're going to work on some arty fartsy stuff. Okay, sorry. Important. You got to have those shaders. Okay. Last thing. Performance optimization. Of course, they're going to get rid of some unwanted BS in the code, and they're going to shrink the what do they call it? Shrink the footprint of each item and stuff like that, and make them cost less on the server and stuff. So it should be good. So we should get even higher FPSs, but we'll see. Okay, now hopefully I explained all of that in 3.5. Now, I lied. That's not everything. Why do I say that? And this video is going on really long, but that's okay. I'm not that guy that does 15-minute videos 2 or 3 times a week. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. I'm not that guy that does 15-minute videos 2 or 3 times a day. I watch some of these videos. They're like 15 minutes, 6 minutes, and he does like 5 a day. It's crazy. Craziness. He's spamming the channel for views. It's like he's a view whore. Okay. We won't talk about that, though. There's a second roadmap, Squadron 42. It's read a little bit differently, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to features. Because now it looks a lot like the current roadmap that you would see. And there is a Q1 of Squadron 42. And all right, there is a Q1 of Squadron 42, and that's all we're going to talk about because that corresponds to about the same quarter as 3.5. There will be some things in 3.5, the PU roadmap, that will impact the Squadron 42, but vice versa. If they figure something out in Squadron 42's roadmap, it's going to carry over to the PU because they're developing both games concurrently. So let's see what they're working on. Characters. Okay, let's see. Look at that. DNA face customization. It's in both, right? And they got a gunner character. Well, they have it in Squadron 42 because we're not going to see him in the PU. He's not going to be loaded into the PU. He's just going to be a character that we see. It's a naval gunner outfit that we'll see when we're playing Squadron 42. Same thing with this Basilisk Armor Advocacy. We might or might not see that in the PU. We come down, we got AI. What does the AI got? We got FPS Realistic Firing version 2. So basically they're going to improve the behaviors of NPCs to shoot accurately, to fight back, to chase you down. That's going to go into the PU. They're going to cross-pollinate that. FPS collision avoidance. Yeah, they're going to cross-pollinate that too. So when people are walking around, they don't just run right up to you. They'll walk around you. Or same thing with a wall. They'll just walk up to a wall. No, they'll walk around it, or they'll go down halls or chairs or trash cans or whatever. And then this one is spline paths. Guess what? We use that in the PU right now. So basically that's jumps around planets that allow you to jump from one side of a planet to another without having to use like orbital markers. Gameplay. Stealth. Okay, so it's going to allow people like bounty hunters to follow you without you noticing them. Or it's going to allow you to follow someone else. Maybe you're the bounty hunter, and without them noticing you. And then ship system degradation, that's in both. Distortion damage, that's in both. Heat's in both. Vehicle HUD's in both. Radars in both. Flight models, both. Scanning. Carryables. Okay, so they're going to say you can grab your helmet, or you can grab a coffee cup, or a plate, or a rifle in your hand, or a magazine, or a grenade, or something, without having to actually attach it to your body or leave it in your hands. You know, free look. So it allows you greater control of your view. Player jump. Okay, they're talking about you actually trying to jump up and down. I noticed that if I put my heavy armor on and I try to jump, I might jump like 1 inch off the ground. So if I ever try to jump over something, there's no way it's going to happen in this heavy armor. But maybe that'll be fixed. Let's see what they say about it. The look of the current jump mechanic, including falling and landing, utilizing new animations, time warping tech. Okay. Perfect. The time warping tech basically means if you jump over something, they might have an They might have an animation that is designed for like a 1 foot wide something. And if you have to jump over a 2 foot wide something, the technology will automatically stretch that animation out to cover the 2 feet. Okay, core tech. Bet you it's a lot. Okay, particle lighting. If that happens in Squadron 42, if they get it fixed, it's completed. Okay, that's completed. We're going to see that in the PU. I'm sure they're going to introduce it somewhere in the PU. Organic shader. Okay, that's pretty cool. Water physics. Okay, water physics is going to be necessary because I do believe, if I remember right, that in Squadron 42 there is a mission that involves you getting wet. And then hard surface shader, and then atmospheric effects. Yeah, the way the re-entries and the exit of atmosphere works is can be worked on. That's probably what they're going to do. They're just going to tweak it, make it better. Projectile manager, same thing. Weapon effects, like when you hit the wall there, and how that's cool. And then ragdoll improvements. Okay, that's cool. Weapons. Missile launcher. I'm excited about the missile launcher. Not to shoot it at a ship, but to shoot it at a player. Okay, and then Pyro Multi-Tool. They're going to make it so that it actually folds up and it doesn't stay out in a big triangular looking thing. It's actually going to be, yeah, they're just tweaking the design of it. Okay. That is, we should see most of that, if not all of that, by March. And I'm super excited. Okay, and again, remember guys, I'm going to be doing another video maybe tomorrow on the female character model, and I got a few things to say about it. It might be a little controversial. It might upset some people, but we'll see. All right, guys, thanks for coming out and checking out this video. I know it went on a little while. I'm going to edit out as much as I can, and then I'll see you in the verse.